Hello and welcome to a new video. So today I'm photographing a newborn boy with his big sister who is 4 years old. We're gonna go for blues and grays and maybe a little bit of mint green. Taking photos of the newborn alone, with his sibling and with his parents. So first I'm gonna throw on my new backdrop. So let's go. So for the backdrop I want to use my newest one, which is this light blue one. And I ordered it on the same website where I ordered the canvas material to paint the backdrops. Washed it, so it's all fresh and clean, it's stretchy and blue. So let's throw it on. Okay, so here I have the beanbag with Flocati, which I'm also going to use. I don't know if you can still see me. But so here we have the mint green, and I'm going to get some wraps to go with the backdrop. We can go with grays and blues. Pretty much everything that they said they liked. I can also like cut off a part of this backdrop and use it as like a wrap. But I'm not gonna do it yet because today I want to have like not matchy wraps with the backdrop, but just like color coordinated. So I'm not gonna cut it off. I think it's fine like this. And then before it goes on the mint green, I'm gonna wrap him in this one and then transfer him there. Yeah, I like these colors. So we got the baby shusher, my yoga ball to sit on. Okay, so I was thinking maybe today I can show you the difference between photographing with just natural daylight here and using my Westcott 50-inch softbox with a speedlight inside. So yeah, I might take, well, most of my photos with the speedlight because that's how I work. And then I might remove my softbox so that all the natural light from the windows behind me will come in. And then I'll take a few more photos with the baby with just daylight. My settings will be different probably because I might have to increase my ISO just because the speedlight gives a little bit more light, I think, than the daylight that's available today. It is quite like a sunny day, so it's not super dark and gloomy outside, which happens during the winter. Then I don't have a lot of light here when it's like really dark outside. So hopefully I can show you the difference between photographing with my speedlight and photographing with just daylight, and then show you the camera settings for both photos as well. So yeah, this is how I usually photograph. So I do block out some of the daylight. And then I photograph with the speedlight. So of course if I will have this softbox here, I will have less daylight. But if I take it to the side, more daylight comes pouring in. I do move around my softbox sometimes, so I don't have to move around the baby or the Paloma shell. So I just move around my light a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna get my speedlight inside. So yeah, during a newborn session, I use one speedlight for the baby by itself when I'm photographing just the baby. This is the Godox V862 and I have it usually at 1/32. And then when I photograph the newborn with the sibling and the newborn with the parents, I'll have another speedlight standing on a stand, like hanging in this bracket thing where I have a separate video about it, pointing towards the ceiling just to give a little bit more extra light as a fill light to also light up the other side of the image, because this is, I place my light always coming a little bit from the side, coming a little bit from the front, but more from the side. So yeah, speedlight is facing inwards and then reflected by the silver inside. Of course this will be closed when it's turned on. And I have a trigger on my camera to give the signal to the speedlight, so there's no light coming from my camera. It's just from the speedlight. But I'm gonna try and take some photos with and without. And when I take the photo without, I'll remove the softbox so you actually have a lot of daylight here. So here you see the trigger on the camera giving the signal. It can give signals to like 5 different flashes at the same time. I do think it's very nice to photograph with just daylight. It's definitely possible. The reason why I'm using also a speedlight is because I want to have like consistent light, whether it's summertime, wintertime, early morning, maybe afternoon, it's very cloudy outside and dark, or it's sunny and bright. I want to have like a consistent light source, and for me that's the speedlights, because here in winter sometimes it's dark until like 10 in the morning, and then it slowly starts getting lighter, and then the light temperature is very blue. You know, when the sun is shining, the light temperature is a lot more yellow, a lot warmer. And then of course you have to like correct that when you're editing. With my Speedlite, my light temperature is very consistent, very constant. And just the light itself, like it doesn't matter if it's like a gloomy day or a sunny day. Of course, when it's a sunny day, I can lower my ISO because I have a lot more daylight coming in. But I'm not depending on the light outside. So yeah, I have my consistent, very reliable light source, which is great. So we just finished the session. It was not the easiest session ever, but we still got lovely photos. I think what you have to remember is that you take the photos for the parents, and we're not like duplicating perfect poses, perfect images every session. We have to go with the flow, you know, see what the baby likes. So this baby still had like his umbilical cord attached to his belly button, and the clip was on there as well. So lying on his belly, he was not too comfortable for a very long time. So because maybe it was putting a little bit of like friction on his umbilical cord. It was almost falling off, so I think within 2 days it's gonna fall off. He was 10 days old today. So yeah, I didn't pose him that much on his belly, but on his back he was fine. His sister needed a little bit of bribery to be in the photo with her brother, and we had to be a little bit patient to take the photos of them together. But we got some, and the family photos worked really well because she brought like her own stuffed animal, so I pretended that that stuffed animal was taking the photos and like pressing the button. Sometimes you just have to like go with the flow, and I promised her a balloon so she could pick out a balloon at the end. Things like that might work. For the photos we do bribe sometimes. But yeah, it was actually quite interesting because the mom picked like a really dark backdrop for the second backdrop. So the dark blue is more like a denim blue color. And of course dark absorbs more daylight, while white can reflect a lot of daylight. So in this case I did take some photos with my Speedlite and with only natural daylight, and I really had to crank up my ISO a lot and even like photograph with the largest aperture on the lens to get like enough light in the photo to make it comparable with using my Speedlite. So you can really see why I'm using a Speedlite, because I don't want to photograph with an ISO of like 2000, or I don't know how high I went, because you do get a little bit of grain in the photo. I'd rather photograph with an ISO of like 400, 640, fine. I use 1000 for the family photos because I use a smaller aperture of like 4.5. Which is still fine, but I think going 2000 and higher, I'd rather not, if it's only the newborn, because then for the family photos with like a smaller aperture I have to go even higher, sibling photos. So yeah, I rather use my Speedlite just because it gives me a lot more light to work with. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the difference between using only daylight and my simple Speedlite, and maybe you understand why I'm using a Speedlite. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love reading comments. And then hopefully you can see me in my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.